This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
It is another glorious morning out in the African bush. Listen to these birds. The dawn chorus has arrived and we have arrived, and I'm very excited. We've got lots and lots of plans this morning across our several of our locations, and we have a lovely sunrise, even though it's a bit bright already and the heat is already baking us, but it is beautiful nonetheless. So jump on board, everyone, for your live safari through the African bush. Stunning indeed. So we're here at Djuma Game Reserve, but we'll only be here for a little bit because my plan for today is to finally head to Chitwa. I've been wanting to head to Chitwa yesterday, and then we caught up with the dogs, so it became quite a frenzy. So we're going to head to Chitwa this morning. Hi everyone, it's me, Trishal, and I've got him on camera, and we are going to head, like I said, towards the south, and then hopefully be able to catch up with Thandi and her cub Maribs. So let's get going. Like I said, it's already quite warm. It's about 21 degrees Celsius, 69 degrees Fahrenheit. And might have, that was just when we were at camp, about 20 minutes ago. It feels like it's already warmed up quite significantly. So there's a number of reasons I want to head off to that side. Like I said to you, Thandi and cub would be awesome. Plus Chitwa Dam, perhaps some elephants playing in the dam. But I'm actually going to use Mamba Road, which is a road in Djuma that runs from the west to the east. I'm going to use that road to get up to the eastern side, just in case we may, I don't know, I get a feeling about Tlalamba and that area. So that is what I'm hoping for. Now remember, it's your live safari, so won't you use that hashtag WildEarth? You can even go, come on. You can even go to our website. You can register and you can use our question box. You can also use @FC on the YouTube chat stream. Now here we have a really beautiful old leadwood, but there's some squirrels dashing up and down. Trying to sun themselves. They're all on the eastern side because they're clever like that. They know that that's where it heats up. Well, actually, they're just following the warmth. But that's how we all get clever. We follow our instincts. Now, they live in family groups, so you'll often see them in these nesting holes, or old nesting holes, and then they will go up and down, sun together, and then be off to forage. Anyway, I'm going to head off towards the south and the east, and I'm going to send you over to Steve's to say good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the dawn. Welcome to an evoker male by the name of Darkmane. And welcome again to Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands. I hope you are all wonderful. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. My name is Steve, joined by Johan on camera. And, well, Orexon came out this morning to look for Kara, and he found this fellow over here who's a lot bigger than Kara, a lot hairier, and definitely a heavyweight. This is Darkmane, one of the evoker males. I actually met somebody on the weekend who sent me a YouTube link of the Birminghams when they joined this area and when they killed a lot of the cubs. He was asking me if it was myself doing the voiceover, and I said, no, that was before my time. And isn't it interesting to know that the Birminghams were the males that dominated this northern area before these evoker males did? You might hear other vehicles in the sighting. We're not the only ones interested in seeing a big male. So turnarounds of lion prides or should I say dominant males, every 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, depending on the size and strength of the coalition. This is the third year, almost about now. I think they arrived in April of 2018. Someone out there can maybe, there we go, he's had enough. Maybe someone out there can correct me on exactly when it was that they arrived, but it was definitely in my first few months. These fellows started popping in from the north, from the other side in the Timavati, from Ngala, a place in the Timavati called Avoca, believe it or not. And he seems to spend a lot of time on his own, or should I say following the Telemati pride. So finding him bodes well. Remember last night I had some buffalo tracks and we followed the tracks. We had Kara just up ahead here, and the buffalo came through here and they went directly west from where we are. And it's possible that without me seeing the road yet, that the Telematis are even following those buffalo, or he's decided he wants to get some buffalo for himself. Let me move up here onto the right, and we might get another angle of him. We were a couple vehicles before, and now we find ourselves on our own. Doesn't look like he's got a full belly, but he's definitely not starving. Still looking in fine condition. It's kind of feeling like that sort of time. There were, I think over December time, a few 4 or 5 youngish males that were sort of hanging around in the Bufusuk area. The Manuleti does provide pretty decent males, and wild male lions as well, moving in from the Kruger itself. Finding themselves in these areas could quite easily displace a male like this on his own. He'd be much more powerful in the coalition with his brothers. Well, it seems like it's going to be a wonderful day here today. Let's go see what the weather looks like across all the properties.
Good morning to all our viewers and welcome to andBeyond in Gala, where we are starting to warm up here. The sun's just rising out behind the cloud blanket, and this morning we set out to find some hyena, and we were lucky enough to come across this hyena. You can see it's just picking up its head every now and again to have a look and see what's going on. Now, I'm Yapi. Behind the camera, we've got Gert. And we decided this morning to head out to one of the crests nearby in the central parts. And then what we're going to do is we'll see if we might get lucky to find a den site. Now, I was wondering when the hyena would stand up, because she was laying right out in the patch with short grass on the sand, probably for a bit of heat, and I'm sure she was actually waiting for the sun. Well, I'm calling it a she, I'm not too sure, I'm just judging from the size at this point. It looks like it's found a better spot now. And it's amazing, it just disappears like that the moment it lays down. You only see the ears flick. And that's what makes this animal potentially really, really dangerous in this particular area, because there's a lot of general game in this part, and it's quite a large clearing. It used to be an old landing strip, And with all the young animals around, you do find sometimes the hyenas might try and actually attempt a hunt. I'm not sure if there are any others. I've only seen this one here. And judging from the fact that it's on its own, which we usually see in this particular area, we find that the hyenas travel off on their own early morning and early evening, and that way they spread out, they cover large distances. They do come across something, they might contact the rest of the clan. I can hear some impalas alarming as well. I'm sure it's because of the hyena. Maybe they're seeing it from where they are. There's a herd of impala not too far from the hyena, standing in the shade. I think this morning is going to be quite warm in about an hour's time. You can see there's the impalas. All you see is the tails flicking and the ears moving, still standing huddled together. But one hyena in this area is a good sign. I think we're going to leave this hyena to rest for a while, and then we're going to move on. In the meantime, we're going to send you over to Tswalu to hear what they're up to this morning.
Well, a very good morning to everybody from the western reaches of South Africa. And we have gone over the first dune this morning, and what a beautiful scene we have to share with you. We are sitting in the middle of a dune street looking directly due east. And a fairly chilly morning at that, so myself and BK are waiting for that sun's warm rays to meet us. Yes, good morning, my name is Carl, behind camera is BK. Good morning. And we are meandering a little bit west. We are just going over these first set of dunes. And there's a lot of bird activity here. If I'm just going to give you a few seconds just to tap in here. There's quite a lot of activity of birds. You can just hear them calling. They're moving through this dune street. Looks like they're starting to feed. There's a bit of interaction. There's also a cuckoo that BK spotted for us, but it has moved off since then. These sections of Tswalu are really beautiful, crossing over these ancient sand dunes, and then you come into the middle part of them, which we refer to as the Dune Street. BK in front of us over here, right on top of this tree, top of the blackthorn, beautiful little robin species. Lovely, look at that. And these areas, these dune streets are always a hive of activity. Yep, and there he goes, Kalahari scrub robin. Beautiful little bird to see early morning. Also one of the first birds along with that white-browed sparrow weaver that we will hear starting the dawn chorus. It's quite a chilly and quite a constant wind. Yep, there we go, Grant. Such a stunning welcome to Africa. It's all due to the skills of this magnificent cameraman sitting behind me. And it is just such a beautiful, scenic morning this morning. There's some more here. So the very top of that dune crest, you'll see BK, sorry man, can you punch in the side here? This blackthorn here to our 1 o'clock, just on top, do you see the birds moving there? There we go, there's one or two small birds. Oh, there it flies. There's still one there. Got it. Just to the right. There's another small bird just to the right. There it is. The yellow vent. There we go. Yes. We're talking about birds and one of the smallest birds in South Africa. Little Kalahari scrub robin. Come on, give us another sing. You can also see by behavior, look how it erects its tail and then wags its tail. Very, very distinctive behavior displayed by this bird. So even if you find the bird in very poor light, you can still recognize the bird via its behavioral traits. Alrighty, there's two of them. Fantastic. So, very good morning from us. Let's send you over to somebody else for a good morning.
Sounds like you've been having a beautiful view at Tswalu. As you can see, we have our own magnificent view going on here at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. Quite a Lion King moment, as some might say. You can see we've got a lioness that's right on the top of a rocky outcrop, and 3 of her sub-adult cubs. Oh, look, there she's climbing. It's so beautiful to see there. It's actually amazing how agile these animals are. So my name is Kim, and behind the camera we have Craig, and we are going to be with you this morning. It's really a beautiful morning here at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. It's we've got, the sun's out. We've got a beautiful misty haze over the horizon, and I really don't think you can start the morning better than finding a pride of lions climbing up one of our more prominent rocky outcrops. I mean, just look at that profile. It's sort of taking your breath away. And those younger ones are so cute climbing up. You can see that one on the far right is actually smelling a bush. And the lioness earlier went to that same bush and did a phlegm and grimace. When they pull their teeth back and they pull the scent onto the Jacobson's organ, an organ at the back of their palate that enables them to extract information from the scent of urine. It makes me think that there's scent marking of most likely a leopard around here. This is very much leopard territory. In fact, a rocky outcrop like this is a perfect area for leopards to den. And we've got one female leopard that we suspect is denning at the moment. We're not quite sure where her denning site is, so I'm really hoping it's not here, because this is a favorite of the leopards to use as a den site. And of course, lions, if they come across a leopard den site, will kill the cubs, because they know when those cubs grow older, it's going to be a future threat to their cubs. Oh, cute. Look at those sub-adults. They're both playing around. So for our regular viewers, this is indeed mountain pride. I'm sure you've figured that out. Oh, look at that. Martin, I actually need to do a recount of all our lions. So the main females in mountain pride, we've got 4 older females. One of them is here. And then we've got 2 sub-adult females with them, so that's 6 females. And then in terms of cubs, they've got these 3 sub-adults, so that's a total of 9. And the other lioness has 3 new cubs, so then that's 12. And our Ngala Pride, we've got 3 main lionesses, then we've got 3 sub-adults, so that's 6. And one of the lionesses has 2 older cubs and one has 2 younger cubs, so 10. So mountain pride is technically bigger than Ngala Pride. We've got very interesting lion dynamics at the moment in that all our prides are pretty much split up completely and not staying together, and it's because there's a lot of lionesses with cubs, so they'd rather the ones without cubs or the ones with older cubs would rather go off and hunt for themselves, just so that they have more chance of feeding. I'm going to stay and see what happens with these lions. I think we might lose the view just now, but in the meantime, we're going to send you over to another ranger and see what they've managed to find.
I'm absolutely delighted to have won the February prize draw for 3 nights for 6 people at the Djuma Private Game Reserve. I absolutely love everything WildEarth has to offer. I find the guides extremely knowledgeable and will go above and beyond to ensure a great safari experience. I will be taking my husband and family from the UK to experience this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. One of the main reasons I joined the WildEarth Explorer program was for the fireside chats and also to win an incredible prize, which I am so fortunate to win and incredibly happy. I would like to thank WildEarth for this amazing prize and cannot wait to meet the team.
With a slew of potential dangers lurking, it's essential to be aware of your surroundings whilst walking in the wilderness.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species. This is a big bull.
What a moment, what a close encounter with an Ellie bull. He's just over here now. He's moved completely away.
Being on a bushwalk and seeing a leopard, I mean, it's ridiculous to be this close to a leopard on foot and for him not to run is absolutely insane. How crazy was that? Through the gap there is just the back of the head of a male lion. He is absolutely unaware that we are here right now. I'll tell you, seeing lions on foot, it definitely brings out the caveman in you, this little scared human being.
I'm Nikki here at andBeyond in Gala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the WildEarth website, head across to the Live Safari page and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next WildEarth drive.
Well, welcome back on the left-hand side here at BK, on the left-hand side of this blackthorn here. Just to the far left reaches of it. A little bird that we saw very briefly, a little bit up, to the left, there we go, punch in. And then to the left, to the left, there we go, yes! Look how tiny that little bird is, folks. So that's the bird that we caught a little glimpse of just before we looked at the Kalahari scrub and robin. That is a yellow-bellied ermamela. A little bit of a tongue twister for such a tiny little bird. Directly in front of me here, on the left-hand side of this blackthorn, there's another one. Tiny little bird, only about 8 grams and about 10 or 11 centimeters. So one of your very small birds found within the region, but a little bit larger than that Cape penduline tit, which is by far one of the smallest birds in the region. Fantastic. Wow, very nice bird to see. And the scene has just gotten even better here now. And the birds are moving with a lot of force through this dune street. Obviously relying on bird calls, a very efficient way of locking down the position of a bird. Ooh, look what BK has found us. So, we saw this bird coming into the dune street, and I think that its host parents are somewhere here, because when we initially got into the street, I thought BK was saying, oh, there's a kudu, and I'm trying to find this kudu. Oh, by the love of me, I could not see it. And eventually, obviously with the wind, it's like, the cuckoo. I was like, oh, the cuckoo. So there was a very distinctive pattern on that bird, and if you saw it there briefly, you would have seen a whitish chest. Let's see if we can see it there again. Maybe we can get another glimpse. They are very sneaky birds. So that could have been a Jacobin cuckoo. I didn't take a good look there with my bins. We have Jacobin and we have Levalens, which look very similar. The Levalens will have a streaky breast and belly, where the Jacobin will have a plain, uniform, whitish belly. Oh, is it gone? So they would have found a host, its mother would have found a host, deposited the egg in the nest, and then from there it would have departed with that little package. And then the host species would have reared that little bird. And it's quite remarkable seeing this large cuckoo species being fed by sometimes a relatively small bird. Just trying to pick it up again. Lovely, the sun is on us. It's still not warm with that chilly breeze we have got going. And we're just waiting for the strength to really get to us. I think it was Hannah, I think it was Hannah that asked the question, are they migratory? Yes, so if you look at most of them the females would lay eggs here in the summer, and then they would migrate further north into Africa. And also depends on what species as well. So most of them are on summer breeding visitors, and then you do have one or two of them that are basically just visitors through the non-breeding period. But a really remarkable breeding strategy if you think about this bird. Not really bothered about making a nest. And the tactics involved in finding a host species and then having the ability to lay an egg very quickly and then get out of there. But then also the egg can mimic the host species' eggs to fool the host species, because some birds can actually recognize different eggs in their nest and they'll actually evict that intruder's egg. So really remarkable strategy. Lovely Namakwa dove. BK got us in view. That orange beak, black bib, clear indication that it is a male. So most of those cuckoos will be inter-Africa migrants, so going further north into Africa and then coming down here in our summer, for when obviously the conditions are more favorable. A lot of birds calling in the distance. Very overlooked bird, the Namakwa dove, but has to be one of the most elegant looking species within the dove grouping, let's say it that. Very, very long tail. And you'll see in flight that they have beautiful copper tips to the wings, giving it a very striking appearance with that long tail while in flight. Fantastic, nice one, BK. Wow. Demi, yes, we do have drongos in Tswalu. We have the forked-tailed drongo, and a very, very prominent bird through a certain time of the year, and really nice to follow and watch because they are very clever birds, and they've got an array of different calls. Their flight and their feeding behavior is also very intriguing. So a really nice bird to see, fork-tailed drongo. from here, I think we're going to get over the next dune. We're going to see what is on that side. Because these dune streets are very active in early morning. Let's start up here and see what we can see from the top over here. It's also great to use it as a vantage point when you are looking for animals. Make sure we don't hurt any vegetation. We don't need to. Go. You can see right in front of us, you can see how the topography starts to increase. I love scratching around in these dune streets. It just makes it feel like it's a totally different place. Alright, so we are bumbling along. Let's send you over to somebody else who is also bumbling along.
So we've just checked the east boundary cheetah cut line for tracks of Tlalamba. I've just stopped here because there's some dwarf mongoose. You know how I like to stop because that's when they come out again. But let me just tell you that we are looking for tracks of Tlalamba, and obviously there weren't any, unfortunately. But the last time she was seen with... Oh, there we go. Last time she was seen by one of the guides with what appeared to be suckle marks was on this road. So I was checking the junctions, and unfortunately, nothing. Here we go. Is that a mongoose? Oh, these are little ones. These are little guys. Look at that. Oh, that is so cool. I always find that the older guys know that what the vehicle is, have an experience, some sort of knowledge and experience of the vehicle. But the younger ones don't quite, so they come quite close. Because it's heated up quite quickly. Today, they're out and about very early. Fiona, I've been asked this question often. You'd like to know if dwarf mongoose blink? They most certainly do. Despite the fact that they can have the most ridiculous stare down with you and win, they do certainly blink. I have seen it with my own eyes that do blink. Also, being mammals, it's very difficult for them not to blink, because they need to keep moisture in their eyes. If they had them open all the time, they look quite strange, because their eyes would kind of get shriveled up. Isn't that some great imagery I've just given you? Here's another little one. I just love watching them. They're always doing something. Whether it's grooming or foraging. But my best or my favorite bits about being with them is when they interact with each other and they play. Sometimes they give each other these almost hugs. Other times they fight. Botus, you'd like to know what are they searching for in the sand? Well, they're carnivores, so they're most likely searching for insects, and in the sand, they're likely to find ants and termites, which they'll happily take. This one was just calling in a very high-pitched whistle kind of way. Sorry, Megan, drive radio. That was very cute. I love in the morning when you get to see them. And they're always, or I always manage to catch them when they're moving from one side of the road to the other, because, oh, there's one right here, because they're obviously going off foraging from wherever they've slept for the night. There's a little one right next to me. I don't think you'll be able to see it. I'm just going to shift in case you can. Somewhere there. So when they're going out foraging, you'll find that they're like one at a time scurry across the road. Just a hint there. Darcy Ann, they certainly are adorable. They're so, so cute. Look at this. Are you learning from hyena cubs? I think. Oh, and they're all gone. So they're all gone off foraging now. I can still hear them, but I can't see any. All right, let's keep on going. They are some of the cutest sightings, and they have some really interesting behavior. So whenever I see them, and I always hope that we won't just get to see the ordinary, but the extraordinary too. We get to see them grooming in the sense of a grooming contest to decide dominance. So it's always worth a stop. All right, well, we're moving now towards Chitwa, and we're going to send you over to Steve, who's also in a bit of a bump.
Welcome back to Djuma, everybody. We've left our male lion, and we followed the buffalo tracks for a little bit, and we found some fresher buffalo tracks and a lioness track. Now, we're just trying to figure out where she's probably gone. But here, very clear evidence of buffalo that came onto this road here. We're running up and down. There's some very fresh dung. Some of this is from late last night, and some of it is from this morning. Some of it looks like it's been rained on. So the buffalo were hunted, were chased. So with one lioness in the area there, and dark mane lying down very flat, we're probably thinking they didn't catch anything. But I'm just going to do a loop around here and see if the rest of the prides come out. If they haven't, then they're in there somewhere, probably not far from where he was sleeping. Shall we go find some lions? Yes? No? I think we shall. Well, you're on board with me this morning. That is what we're going to try and do. If they've crossed this way, that's into Simbambili, so we can go. If they have not crossed, then we'll see if we can find them on this side. So what you're looking for is lion tracks on top of the buffalo. So it shouldn't be too hard. Shouldn't be too hard to see. Justin, I've definitely had buffaloes running, but it is quite something to witness. A stampede, I mean, you're talking about more than a couple hundred running. I've definitely been involved in something like that when the lions are hunting, but it's, what on earth is going on with this road? This is the road. It's nothing quite like the Lion King where those wildebeest go running through the valley. But when they do move, it is quite a force to be reckoned with. And it's very hard for the lions to pick them off. So I have indeed been involved in buffaloes moving like that. Creates a lot of dust, a lot of turbulence, and they do flatten the vegetation. So it's actually quite a nice thing. They leave a lot of poo along the way, they churn up the ground. Okay, so most of the buffalo activity was back there, and so far, no lion tracks. I should just move along very slowly. I reckon he's not far away from the ladies. If they'd caught something, we all know where he'd be, don't we? We all know. So it was a very large herd, according to the tracks. And it seems maybe there was a second splinter group that maybe was a bit delayed, that didn't follow that herd. Or they ran in a loop and came back again. It's hard to say exactly, but there's definitely some old tracks from last night, because we drove there, remember? If you were watching last night, we followed the buffalo. And then there was tracks of buffalo and fresh dung on top of my vehicle tracks. And on top of the rain, there was a little bit of moisture last night, which just sort of speckled the ground. I'm going to guess it's the Talamati Pride, just due to the fact that Darkmane is with them. Abu Dhabi, stay safe on safari. You just stay in the vehicle and listen to your guide. And if the guide says it's okay to get off the vehicle, do so. So if you come out here, you just listen to the trained professional in the driver's seat. You should always be going to a lodge that's got trained professionals in the driver's seat. It is kind of the standard. And just do exactly what you're told, and everything will be fine. The problem comes when people think that they know better and they go and do things that they shouldn't do, like sleeping outside or going for a walk on their own or these sort of things. You can't just go for a walk, everybody. Unfortunately, it's just not on the cards. If you go with a trained professional, by all means. And sleeping outside, if you've been given the go-ahead in certain places, by all means. But don't just think, oh, it's warm tonight, I'm going to sleep outside. No, I wouldn't do that. Okay, so this is another road that will take us back towards Darkmane, but I'm going to do a further loop to see if where the pride came from, first of all, and where they've gotten to. So I do apologize, my head hanging out the side of the car here. Just looking for some tracks. There is some buffalo dung from yesterday. Okay, well, we're going to see if we can figure out where these lions are hanging out, and while we do so, we're going to send you over to Tswalu Kalahari.
Well, we have got a very interesting scene playing out in front of us. Myself and BK have stopped on top of this dune crest, and it's very important that you don't just rush into things. Everything is on its own time schedule here. Ooh. And sitting on top of a dune crest, you basically are not interfering with anything. And from this height advantage that we have, we can watch animals just like this. Look how far we are without disturbing them. And here we got two male blue wildebeest. It looks like there's a little bit of confrontation from these two males. You saw just now previously both of them taking their horns in the forehead of their face, basically rubbing it into the soil. Bit of pawing of the ground. Oh, look at that. So if you take a look at antelope, they have what they refer to as sebaceous glands throughout the body, and different species would have these glands at different points of the body. So pawing the ground like that, they actually have what they refer to as interdigital glands, and they are able to deposit a scent, their own unique scent signature, into the soil. So there was definitely a little bit of confrontation. So the one bull thinks that he is much stronger and more dominant. Just go to the left there, please, BK. See, the one is now rubbing his face on that trunk. There's a gland just below the eye called the preorbital gland. And from rubbing that gland on these specific points within their territories, he is applying his scent signature onto that trunk. So a little bit of territorial behavior. And there would be other forms of behavior that we could see, from lateral display, giving that bucking and broncoing form as well. There's many forms, but these two males definitely look like they need to sort out who's the bigger of the two. There might just be two bulls just associating each other, just associating themselves with each other. And it's also very nice because then you have a partner to practice before the mating season. Very complex behavior displayed by these animals, commonly overlooked, unfortunately, because of their sheer abundance, but they exhibit some of the most complex social arrangements that we can find within the continent of Africa. So the one male on the left turning broadside to his opponent. Okay. You can see all the soil on his forehead there. Bodus, so if it was a fight for dominance, they would be going at it, and they would not let up until there was a winner, until one was physically chased off. So I think this was kind of just a small interaction, just to see and test one's strength. So this one is moving off, the other one is still standing under the tree. So it's not a very serious confrontation at that. When they do go at it, it's quite a vicious affair. You'll see that they'll actually have thicker skin around the forehead, around the neck, just to protect the animal when they do go through these interactions, because those horns are like meat hooks, and they've got a lot of power in their neck. And what they want to do is basically lock those horns and throw the opponent off balance. Yeah, he is moving off. You can see the other one now rolling around. BK. There we go. That's it. So they'll have these points. So within their territories, they'll have these small depressions that they have made. So they urinate, they defecate, they paw the ground, and then they roll vigorously in it. And basically they're coating themselves with their own scent signature. Be very specific points within their territory. So some places they can be territorial for a longer period. They are gregarious, and in East Africa they'll be territorial through the breeding season. But other places their territorial behavior can be extended over a longer period. So yet the camel thorn providing yet another function. They were just tremendous trees. Very sturdy, strong-looking animal. Yeah. Smelling the ground. Blake, great question. Is a wildebeest part of the antelope species? Yes, it is. You can see from those beautiful displayed horns that he is part of the antelope family. But if you look at another defining characteristic is those cloven hooves. He's also a ruminant. Obviously, he'll regurgitate vegetative matter a bit later. But he is part of this very diverse group of hooved ungulates. In Africa, there is 75 different species of antelope. Very, very broad spectrum. And wherever you have vegetation along this beautiful continent, you'll have a specific antelope that is best suited to that vegetative group. These guys are designed to be on the move all the time. So that broad muzzle coming into play now, allowing him to get nice and low. And that's normally why you see zebra and wildebeest together, is because you can see that broad, blunt muzzle. He needs quite a short height of grass in order to crop. So he'll actually associate himself with zebra. It's something we refer to as grazing facilitation. Whereas the zebra's mouth structure enables it to crop the top parts. And once the top part is cropped, the wildebeest then comes in and then utilizes that lower band of grass.
On the 27th of April, WildEarth will be turning 14 years old, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you. And to celebrate, we will be finishing the beautiful book that we started last year that looks at the history so far. But we do need you to be part of it. Please submit your most memorable sighting, or what WildEarth means to you, or even just your name and a comment to be included inside the book. Head over to the website to add your name and reserve your copy. We are offering a 20% discount on all books bought before the end of March. And a big thank you to all of you who have contributed to the book so far.
WildEarth explorer Jenny recently joined Tristan as he broadcast live from Djuma.
Awesome to kind of have a guest on board. I'm looking forward to this. This is Jenny.
Hi everyone.
And Jenny is the first of our Ticket to Dream holders.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
Literally being with Tristan on the vehicle today has been incredible. It has truly been a dream come true.
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
I would highly recommend being a part of the Explorer program and being able to be a part of an interactive live drive.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on WildEarth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
We've made it to Chitwa Dam, and now one of my favorite birds is giving us a bit of a show. It's a pied kingfisher. Every so often, it's hovering, it's diving down, catching a thing or two. Not anything very large. I haven't been able to tell if it's male or female. It's always had its chest away from us, so the male has 2 bands on its breast, and then the female just has 1. Look at it readying itself. using those specially adapted eyes to be able to look and judge the distance that it needs to go to actually strike prey. Because you know, in water, the light refracts differently. So where if you want to, pick something off the bottom of a pool, it's a little difficult because where you put your hand or where you think the object is, it's not exactly where it is. The pied kingfisher has specially adapted eyes so that it is able to locate or calculate the location of its prey accurately. So unlike us, when your pool toy reaches the bottom of the pool and you go down and then you have to move your hand around, pied kingfisher doesn't have time to do that. That brain is making lots of calculations to make sure it strikes its prey directly. Cleo, you'd like to know if all kingfishers have long beaks? Certainly all kingfishers we get here have long beaks. A long beak means that you can grab hold of things that wriggle without them irritating your face or, well, basically touching you. So it's kind of like, if you imagine pincers, tweezers, as I was actually meant to say, but the word pincers came out of my mouth. Tweezers, leopard. This is what I love about being at Chitwa. And, all right, let's just watch from here for a little bit. I don't have an ID yet. This is magic. My binos can't get in on that face. All right, well, I know that James Richard will already know who this is. They're very stocky. Do I see it too? I wonder if this is Shasha. It's a male. That was insane timing of looking up because the pied kingfisher is all the way on the other side. It just looked up in time. Okay, from what I can see, and Paul, can you get closer to his face? I just want to check the spots because at the moment I saw a 3 and a 2, but I can't be sure. Yep, there's 3. What are you stalking? Oh, they're Bala right behind of you. So obviously we're not going to move. The Impala right behind our vehicle. We are in a great position. Stuck down into that drainage now. only two males that I know that are in this area would be Shasha, which is Sabri's son, or Maribs, which is Tanya's son. And I know I haven't seen Maribs in a while, but that's big for Maribs. Okay. One Impala's made a run for it. They've all made a run for it. Nothing else behind us? Okay. All the Impalas have fled. I'll just show them to you because they're quite vulnerable. Quite young. Just hang on. Wow! That's another one I didn't think about. Kuchava's son. Gosh, I haven't seen that cub in forever. James Richard, thank you so much. I didn't even think about Kuchava's son. Alright, off they go there. That is amazing. The last time I saw Kuchava's son, he was a little cub. I can see him. Look at this. Oh, this is so exciting. Hello, you. I don't even think this boy has a name yet. I recently drew a picture of him from when he was about 8 months old. He is a very, very stocky boy. That is so awesome. I'm so glad to see him. I'm sure you all are too. I almost forgot that Kuchava's son would also be in the area. I'm not sure when the last time I think you might have seen him with Tristan. He definitely has the Kuchava look. Maybe, if we're lucky, Kuchava might be close by too. But actually, haven't heard of them together too much. I think that he was born the beginning of 2018. So he'll be about 3 years now, 3 years old now. Donald, you'd like to know if leopards ever hunt in dams? You know, I would have said no before I had seen leopards out here. And I certainly have. I've seen it in Ghana at this dam. There's somebody else that I saw. I think it was Talamba, who would grab things from the dam. So it certainly does happen. They will not go full body into the dam, but they will grab stuff at the shore, and you'll get them, paws deep into the water. Amazing. What a special, special sighting. This has made my day. I'm ecstatic to see this boy. I'm quite surprised that he doesn't have a name yet. Perhaps I just didn't get that memo. But I knew Sabri's cubs had got names. And I also remember thinking that this boy still hasn't got a name, so I shouldn't have drawing him. Okay, let's move behind the bush. That's exciting. I'm happy. I'm a happy little Vegemite. Okay. Edwards, you say what a gorgeous cat. Most certainly. Okay, well, he's now in this drainage, so we're just gonna have to wait for him to pop out. There's a crocodile right there. Alright, it's a difficult area to navigate, so I'm just gonna pop on top here and look properly with my eyes. And I'm going to show you the crocodile that's not very far from the edge of the dam. Normally see them very far in. I need to figure out... Hello, croc. I need to figure out a way to get round there. You can see it's quite wet. Okay, I try one more thing. RF, you'd like to know what the naming process of leopards in Djuma is? Or in the Sabi sands, rather, because we're actually on Chitwa. So in the Sabi sands, the guide who finds the leopard cub has, I guess, naming rights, but usually the names that guide will give forward a suggestion, and then the guides that are involved around that area will vote on that suggestion. So he's tucked down there, right, just behind this bush inside. So the option would be to go onto that side, but it's super, super wet. Patience pants, patience pants, patience pants. Grass is just so long that if he sneaks out, we're gonna miss it. Okay, now, let's go. Firstly, I'm just gonna go further down here and see if we can look up. It's a bit of a steep bank to climb. Nay, I don't see anywhere. There we go. You can just see his tail. Okay, let's see. We can just do this. Yay! Not drop us over the edge of this. Right there. So well hidden. Now this is the exact spot that Thandi and Maribs were at one stage. This looks like he's got something there. I mean, he can't go anywhere from there. There's no cave or anything. So he's going to have to come out. So we were talking about the naming processes. So I really have no idea why he hasn't been named. And like I said, it's usually the responsibility of the guide and the lodge or the area in which he's been found to have named him. And I don't know who found him. And I'm quite sure he was found on Chitwood, but he could have easily been found on Torchwood too, because Kuchabe's mother and himself are seen around there too. Well, we're going to hang tight and see if he pops out again. I'll send you over to Yapi at Ngala.
And we have managed to find the lions again. They seem to be in the same spot. And there's quite a lot happening here at the moment. And it looks like the mother is being a little bit irritated by the young ones, which have clearly the most energy out of all of the members here. You can see the little ones are sitting around. They look quite confused. It's because they're actually trying to get a drink, get some milk from the mother, but she's not having any of that. And you can see the morning sun is clearly making her a bit tired. Let's have a look. This little one's probably going to try to get in there. You can see her using her tail almost like a fly swat. There are also some flies here, but also maybe it's a hint to the little one to move off without spending too much energy. Now one would ask yourself, why wouldn't she be letting them drink? I think at this stage these little ones are already at such an age where they are starting to get, or the weaning process has already started. This lioness will start, or she started quite early actually, and therefore limits the amount of times that the little ones can drink. It's also to save herself some energy. Now, I haven't seen these little ones in almost 2 weeks now. But it is really incredible just how much they've grown since I've last seen them. You can see their little feet and their legs have stretched a little bit. They don't have that small, short cub legs anymore. They're starting to develop now, which is usually around 3 to 4 months. I think the lioness's efforts have paid off. You can see now and they've gone down for a little lay down and a quick nap. But sitting in this riverbed at the moment, it is absolutely amazing. It is so dense away from the riverbed, and I think that's why these lions have been spending a lot of time here. There is good cover to hide the little cubs, which is also somewhere in this area. But just look at all that green up on the bank. It looks literally like a jungle. And it's been really, really tricky actually to find animals on Ngala at the moment due to the fact that there's not many roads and a lot of the areas are quite inaccessible this time of the year. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, that's a very good thing. Some wild, large wilderness blocks, which gives this area its magic. And we've started to see other lions move into the area as well, like from the outskirts of the reserve. And starting to see the signs. You can hear different males calling at night time. And I think now with the season changing and it getting a little bit drier, it should be interesting to see how these lions will be affected by the changing of the season. You can hear a woodland kingfisher calling, quite a late call still. Someone was asking me the other day if they're still around, and I'm sure they were still around. I haven't been hearing them that often out in the rest of the reserve away from the Timbavati, but down here we still hear them calling regularly. And then we also have the one male here. Now, he seems quite content. He doesn't seem like he's very full, and I don't think he's had anything more to eat since yesterday. The two males had a small impala carcass yesterday, and she was actually not far from this area. And we picked up on some tracks around this area early on. The tracks were going all over the place. So it means that they were spending a lot of time here during the night. But they haven't moved very large distances. And the reason for that at this point is mainly because of the little cubs that's in the area.
Hi,
My name is Damon and I'm a guide here at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. Join me and our resident ecologist Craig Sholto Douglas at the fireside on the 21st of March for a discussion on 2 of our conservation projects. In early 2016, andBeyond was faced with the fact that without some serious intervention, our rhino population could be in some serious trouble. And so a decision was made to start a rhino dehorning program. Sadly, the fastest mammal on land, the cheetah, is also racing towards extinction. The andBeyond Phinda conservation team has been working on a project that aims to increase the genetic integrity of cheetah in protected areas around the country. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and join us for a lively debate where we'll answer as many of your questions as possible.
Our lives are dictated by alarm clocks, traffic jams, constant multitasking, and countless distractions. The wilderness is where many of us feel the most human. On a bushwalk, we become part of the natural landscape. As you step off the vehicle, everything comes alive. As with any risky experience, walking amongst these animals inspires awe and appreciation. Now, it's your turn to go on a bushwalk. Join us from Pride Lands as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with a place that first taught us how to be human.
My name is Taylor McCurdy and I work for Eco Training. I love hearing from all of the viewers. However, I particularly enjoy those of you who have been watching for a few years. Your questions are just so advanced and they really get me thinking. If you'd like to ask a question on WildEarth, you need to register on our website. Once you've done that, head to the live safari page and submit your questions below the live feed.
Alrighty, just taking the time to look at all the small things. Sure, a lot of fawn-coloured larks busy calling out just on the side of the vehicle. Beautiful little plant that really enjoys the dunes, and it's very easy to recognise by that beautiful light pink trumpet-like flower. It somewhat resembles the other plant that we looked at a couple of weeks ago, the devil's claw. This is devil's thorn, and that beautiful trumpet-like flower is very easy to recognize this beautiful plant species. So this is a perennial, and that stem would be growing from a woody root stock, very extensive underground storage compartment to withstand unfavorable periods of the year, and then when you have rains or favorable periods, flowering as it is now. So we can recognize about those beautiful trumpet-like flowers, but then also, if you look just on the left there, you can see how deeply lobed those leaves are. So it's a really remarkable plant because you can actually use it as somewhat of a soap. So mixed in with a little bit of water, it produces this slimy mass called mucilage, or foam that is actually used as a lubricant as well. But you can use it as a soap. There's the medical properties, used as an aphrodisiac, and then as well as through labor-intensive childbirth, it can actually be used to help out the mother. But looking at plants, and obviously the most recognizable or the most prominent feature about plants is definitely the lovely flowers. And they are doing a remarkable job at obviously attracting certain pollinators. But then if you think about another remarkable aspect that plants have gone through, is this is doing a very, very important job right over here. And this is attracting somebody to come and do your business. And everything is there that is needed to attract a certain species. But then plants over time have gotten very clever when it comes to dispersing one's seeds. Plants have done it in a very ingenious manner. And if I ask BK to zoom in over there, look at that. remarkable little structure. You can see where it gets its name, Devil's Thorn, from. So that little structure over there, that's fairly hardy. And that, let's actually try and find if there must be a dry one here somewhere. But what that will be doing up here, when this dries out, it becomes brown and becomes very, very hardy. And these projections over here are enabling this seed to be dispersed. So if I had to walk over this plant in a couple of weeks' time when the seed pod is properly hard, that would possibly stick into my shoe. And I mean, if I push enough, it'll go into my finger. And then once it's in my shoe, you have transportation being provided. And seed dispersal, if you look at plants, we always look at plants and the pretty things, the pretty aspects of our plants, but seed dispersal, Mother Nature has become very clever at making these ingenious ways of dispersing one seed, because it's very important getting the job done over here, but making sure that your offspring or your genetic value is spread out of the landscape is also a very important part as well. So you can see it's also part of the creeper family. You can see this creeping along over here, and look how efficient that is. The leaves also have this beautiful, almost like hairy or shiny tinge to them. You can see it over there. It's actually a nice shine to it. But really beautiful plant, and very easy to recognize with these beautiful trumpet-like flowers. So we thought we'd just stop and share that with you folks. Sorry? Okay, but we're going to send you over to Tswalu, and we're going to continue going up north, and we'll see you back this side.
This boy is busy hunting. Can you hear this water? Amazing. Well, what could it be? Of course, it could be a big catfish, but we were also thinking perhaps a water monitor. Whatever it is, he's not super comfortable with it because there's big splashes and he jumps up. This is the best view we can get. But like I say, when he finally catches whatever it is, I'm sure we'll get to see it. I'm sure he'll proudly come up towards this bank where we are and show it to us. So this is the overflow from the dam, like I said, so it could be filled with all sorts of things. But quite a splash is being made. And I don't think just one paw of a leopard is going to be making that kind of splash. Look, he's running back every now and then. Reeling back. What could it be? What could it be? See, whatever it is that's splashing about, that splash was made by whatever that prey is, not by him. That must be something big. Hi. Hello, yes, we're watching you and your antics. Susanna, you'd like to know if this leopard is habituated? Yes. But like I said, the last time that I saw him, he was about a year. I think maybe even a little older. And he, at that point, was not totally comfortable with the vehicles, but since then, from what I've heard at least, that he is much more comfortable, and today he's certainly shown that he is much more comfortable with the vehicles. The first time I saw him, he was about just under a year. But remember, he's, 3 now. He said he was born early 2018, say Jan 2018. So, 3, he's basically independent now. Listen to this. Oh no, out of sight. Come on. This is so exciting. Now he and his mother have still been seen in close proximity. But he's certainly mature and independent. And he's comfortable with vehicles, so I hope that this will mean more sightings with him. Oh, there's a lot of flailing going on there. And now, are we done? Did you catch it? Flailing has stopped, and now we can't see him feast, which is, oh, I saw a bit of movement. There we go. All right, he's moving up. He's moving up. We are positioned quite precariously. It's a bit dicey there. There's a drop of note, so we're going to take this side. And hold. And Paul, can you see over? Yes, that's the dry bit. Okay. Now, where are you? There he is. He's moved again further in. Right, let's just, I think it's best. Let's just, there we go, there we go! Awesome! That is one big catfish. Wow, wow, wow. That is a huge catfish. At least now there's some dry spot. We can move quickly. Fantastic. That thing is huge. Where did you go with your prize? Okay, maybe he went back down the bank. I'm just going to turn around here. Oh, here he is. And he's down the bank. Okay, so now we're going to have to go all the way back around to where we were when we first spotted him. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get a quick view down here. No. Again. No. That thing was like this. Okay, no. Maybe not like this. Like this. Okay. I didn't quite hear anything at all, but I think that you're going somewhere, so why don't I send you?
Back to the Private Game Reserve. It sounds like an unbelievable thing that you've just been watching. I'm very, very jealous of you all. So when last you were with us, we actually had that pride of lion. And in fact, in the distance, they were just over there. There's a big mountain, and they managed to walk over the top. I think they've now found a cool spot to lie for the rest of the morning. And we came across this little bird's nest. You can see right in the middle of this fold of the palm leaf. This is a lala palm. That's what this tree is called. And you can see this small little nest, made out of grass. And then a little cup in the middle. So this is actually a lemon-breasted canary's nest. It's one of our near endemics of the area. Endemic to Maputo land. Or near endemic to Maputo land. And you can see now that I've just released it, that they choose these palm leaves based on the ones that are folded very closely together. So anything that's sort of covered in the middle, and that obviously just aids to conceal it. You can see how difficult it would be for anything to spot this nest right in here, and then really nice and protected from the elements as well. Now, it's not being used at the moment. The season is around December. We found this nest quite a while ago. Yeah, it hasn't been used for quite a while. And I just want to show you what bird I'm talking about. So if we have a look here, the more common canary that we get is the yellow-fronted canary. And then you can see here, this is the lemon-breasted canary. And see, the difference is that it's got quite a white underbelly. You see a little bit of yellow by the back, which is very common. The common feature between the female and the male is that little bit of yellow there, and then the male has a bit of yellow in the front, and there of course is a picture of how they nest right in the middle of these lala palm leaves. And to give you an idea of the distribution and how very special it is, have a look here. You can see there just those little green spots. That's where you find them. So we thought we'll carry on and see what else we can maybe find. But in the meantime, we're going to send you over to Taylor and Prrivate and see what she's managed to find for you this morning.
And it wouldn't be a day here at Pridelands if we didn't start it out with elephants. Now, I'm just going to keep my voice down for just a little bit because we're kind of standing out in the open, but we are very safely on the other side of Leopard Dam. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Niels. And like I said, we're here at Pridelands Conservancy, which is part of Tswalu Game Reserve and the Greater Kruger National Park. Now, it's not just the elephants that we've had this morning. We also had a very close encounter with a buffalo bull. But it was a very peaceful situation, which was, well, if you know how many terrible buffalo encounters I've had on foot, then you'll know that they're not my favorite animal. But that one was quite nice. They're starting to redeem themselves again. But we've got an entire herd of elephants. And now you might remember yesterday morning, we actually watched the elephants slipping and sliding on all the mud. This position from this termite mound on the northern side of Leopard Dam is actually so much better. Look, we've actually got a really, really clear view of all those elephants. and it's very, very slippery. You can see how they've smoothed out all the mud now. But we've got adults and babies and sub-adults and lots of elephant bulls. The wind is swirling a little bit, so probably going to pick up on our scent at some point. There's one cow that she's looking around, I think trying to figure out where exactly we are. But I think she's getting our scent every now and then. But like I said, we're on a safe spot. There we go, trunk right up. Hello, girl. Now, elephants don't have the worst eyesight. They're often made out to be sort of very, very terrible when it comes to sort of spotting things. But their eyesight is quite similar to how we see things. Obviously just not in all the wonderful colors that we can see things in. That was a trumpet from a little elephant right at the back that I think had fallen behind, is now trying to catch up with the rest of the herd. But nobody else seems to know that we're here. It's just the one. Everybody else has got their attention drawn to, of course, the water and the mud. I think this is where we're going to spend the rest of the morning and watch the elephants come in and out. There we go. One has finally resisted the urge to just sort of stand there. I think it must be quite difficult for them to navigate on that slippery surface, even though we know that they've got lots of grooves and almost like a tread underneath their feet. It's very, very difficult. Yes, Rose, you're 100% correct. This is very, very special. And what makes it more special is that we are on foot. That is just, I can't even describe the feeling to you. You know, it's one thing driving around in a vehicle, but to be on foot and you have to be on high alert, literally watching everything around you to make sure that there's no animals sneaking up. And with that being said, there's some beautiful sounds coming from that elephant splashing themselves. So now I would turn the volume up. This is so lovely. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to sit and watch the antics as the elephants slip and slide in the mud. But off you go to the Sabi sand where Tswalu has a leopard with very muddy paws.
So we're just trying to make our way out from this really tough area because he's just moved away too. So he's taken us a bit of on a wild goose chase around this drainage, and it's not the safest drainage. But we managed to navigate it fine so far. And now he's down here somewhere. So he walked through down here, had his fish in mouth. He almost looked for a moment like he was going to hoist his fish, and I thought, that is just too cute. Okay, so this is the approximate area that he would have come out on or to, but there's quite a band of vegetation. I'm just going to pop down here. There's quite a bit of vegetation between this bank and the other bank. So he could pop out here, or he could just stay between the two banks where we can't access and enjoy his seafood, or his fish rather, freshwater fish. It was a really nice big catfish. It was a long battle. He finally won. And I'm so happy that we managed to get this sighting. So I might sit here for just another minute or two and see if he comes out. If not, I'm quite happy to let him enjoy his fish. We had a great sighting with him. Oh, in fact, why don't we actually go up into the dam wall? We might have a better view, because we can see all this from the dam wall. He's been, you were asking about how habituated he is, and I said he's not bad at all. He's quite habituated, but he's still a little nervous. Once he had his prey, he was a little nervous, far more nervous than he was. Well, far more, but more nervous than he was when he was just having a bit of fun trying to catch the prey. All these areas are still quite waterlogged. There we go. Okay, let's watch from the dam wall and see if there's any promise of seeing him again. It was such an exciting thing when you don't know what he's going to catch, you know. Could it have been a little crocodile, a monitor lizard, big catfish? Because the sound of it splashing about told us that it was a big thing. Here we go. This is a good spot. Cassandra, you'd like to know if a leopard can survive on fish alone? No, because cats can't produce a few amino acids that they need to find in meat. That's why we call cats obligate carnivores, so they have to eat meat in order to survive. And lots of those nutrients are found in red meat, as opposed to fishy meat, or well, the white meat of fish. So no, they can't survive on fish only. Can sustain them for a bit, but they'll definitely need to have red meat. Well, I'm very happy to leave him be, enjoy his fish, and we're going to keep on moving. See what else we can find on Chitwa. Maybe we'll get lucky again. But I'm going to send you over to Pridelands in the meantime.
Trish, I feel like if anybody's going to be lucky in the bush at finding leopards, it is definitely you, as I have all the luck with elephants. Although it's not very difficult on Pridelands, as you can imagine. Now, you can see just in the distance a group of young elephant bulls have all come together, and they also haven't been able to stay out of the water. So they've had a drink, they've had a bit of a splash around sort of the mud, annoyed the breeding herd as they normally do. And now look, and we can't be very far away from them. I don't know, maybe 40 meters, I would say. Obviously, they're right in the middle of the water. And you can see it's actually not too deep where they're standing, but it looks like there's a bit of a depression where they're heading now, where they can move around in. Look at that, that does get quite deep. That would probably be up to about my chest, I would imagine. Maybe even a bit more than that, in fact. And it's great to just see them all splashing about. I don't know if any of the really little elephants are going to want to come in and play here. They definitely get bashed about a bit, probably not on purpose though. They can be a bit boisterous, but it looks like one of the cows have come in, from this angle at least, to greet them, and there's a couple of sort of 4 or 5 year old elephants moving on into the water too. This is awesome. I think it would be quite nice to do a little poll. What do you think? directors of Final Control, shall we compare sightings and ask the viewers what they think? Do they like watching elephants swim, or did they prefer seeing the leopard eating a fish, which is a really, really special thing to see as well. That's not something you come across every single day. Let's see what the powers that be have to say about that. Wonderful. We are going to be doing a poll on exactly that. So if you'd like to cast your votes, you can head on over to Twitter. You can have a look and check out WildEarth. Hashtag WildEarth if you do have any comments or if you want to share screenshots. It'd be great to see what you prefer. Do you prefer swimming elephants on foot this morning, or did you love the sight of a leopard catching a fish? To be honest, I've only ever seen that twice in my life, so my vote might even be there. But I've been very lucky to see elephants on foot. Now what we have to do is we have to make sure that these boys that are creeping closer to us, we're at that little island now, they don't decide that they're going to come out here. There are ample spots for these elephants to exit the dam. But you know, little troublemakers, these young adolescents definitely will try their luck. Who knows, we might even get splashed with water, but that's not the goal this morning. But I think we're going to retreat a little bit and find another spot on a different termite mound so that we don't get soaked by the elephants.
It's the month of March and WildEarth is offering you the chance to win a brand new prize. Sign up to be a WildEarth Explorer and you could win a 5-day eco-training ranger experience for 2. Eco-training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. The lucky winners can look forward to approaching dangerous game on foot, tracking and 4x4 driving, learning about animal behavior, and even spending one night sleeping out under a blanket of stars. In addition, you will also get the exclusive opportunity to join the WildEarth team on the broadcasting vehicle. Sign up to be an explorer now, and it could be you that wins this life-changing experience. Terms and conditions apply.
For all of you WildEarth explorers who bought plaques, today is the day that you will make your very first safari on our vehicle. Because we are quite remote here in the bush, they have taken some time to arrive, but I am happy to say they are here and they look great. Marcel has spent the day attaching them. Let's take a look.
Before we mount these nameplates, we just give a light dusting of green paint. This is to better match them to the color of the vehicles and also to decrease the reflectivity of the metal and thereby staying sensitive towards the animals.
Bumble crew, hopefully, Dan Black, Liesel Apgar, and Alicia George. Well, it's time for me to get ready to take you all on a safari. Let's go.
I love being a cam op for WildEarth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
Welcome back to Djuma, everybody, where we've been working at trying to figure out where our leopardess has gone, and she's seeming crossed north towards Bufsuk. And then we found another track of a lioness in the same area as this dark mane, and we've been trying to figure out where they've gotten to, and they haven't gotten out of the block. So we tried to figure it out, but we have not been successful. If only we could smell like a hyena or a lion and sniff them out, but they're probably just lying flat somewhere in amongst the guarri thickets. At least 2 lioness tracks. But he hasn't done much since we were last here. He's rolled over. Show us his other shoulder. I know, he was lying like that before, wasn't he? The grass is evident that he has... Now, his impalas on my right are alarm calling. And I thought they were looking at him. Move up a looking at, because he's been in the same spot. Maybe they can suddenly smell him. So go over there, because the tracks of the lioness was on the junction here. We couldn't figure out where she went to. Those impala there are definitely looking at something. That one's looking straight at him. Right on the junction here, there was a female that went that way. We've been checking this block quite deliberately. Okay, she's looking right at him. False alarm. Genuine. Except a real alarm, I suppose, if you're in Impala and you're seeing a lion. It's definitely something to be concerned about, isn't it? Let's show you these impala. See, she's not quite sure where to look at. And we've just got them over here. She's trying to figure out what he's doing. And you often won't have antelope alarm calling at predators if the predators are sort of being very sleepy. Predators have the two forward-facing eyes. Very sort of characteristic intention gaze. Kind of know when you're being looked at. See how she's now looking in our direction, but then in that direction. So they know there's other lions around. That's why they've come out into the open. We were chatting last night about Kara trying to hunt impala in the open. It's not easy. It's not easy to do so. They're much easier at hunting in the thickets because the vegetation obscures them. Moving through this long grass also makes noise, even if you are as fleet-footed as a leopard or lion. You still have to get within 15, 20 meters maximum, to be able to have an effective attack. So these impala stay on a perpetual edge of alertness. That's why they like to come out into the open, be a little bit threatened. Okay, well, we're going to move on from our male lion who's sleeping, see what else we can find, and send you over to Tswalu Kalahari.
Well, we have just entered this watering hole, and as we approached it, this bird of prey decided to fly across us and land on this lovely perched position. So raptors can sometimes be quite tricky, especially in their juvenile form. You can see the mottled and very disruptive markings on this bird. This is definitely a juvenile. This is a juvenile pale chanting goshawk. And you can see from those long legs, they'll be slightly pinkish. Nice, beautiful, pale eye. And that heavily streaked breast. If the bird does fly and it gives us an opportunity to see the rump, you can see a white saddle around the rump section as well. It's quite amazing the transformation that juveniles go through before they reach their adult plumage. Some of them can be fairly extensive, and these juveniles are actually tolerated for sometimes quite a long period. Sometimes up to 2 years the parents can tolerate this individual within their territory. Wow. Quick takeoff there. keeping BK ready. But why we have entered this watering hole is that, there it goes. Oh, chased off another bird there. Yo, well done, BK. But why we've entered this watering hole is that we are here to see if we can locate on another bird of prey that has been hanging around here, a Lana falcon. And I've sat here a few times with guests and we have watched this falcon try and catch birds. So they practice, stay within these watering holes, and they sit in these trees, wait for the doves and other birds to come and drink, and then they swoop down and they're practicing basically. A lovely group of oryx as well. A lot of animals here. Oryx, there's wildebeest to the north of us. Very busy here at the moment, although it is still very chilly and that wind is fairly sturdy this morning, keeping BK finely wrapped up. He's got a long jersey with a hoodie and a big jacket and long pants on this morning. Okay, what's going on here, guys? Just watch the bull on the left. That's the individual on the left-hand side of the picture. Just watch what he might do. He might show us something that is prominently seen through males when they are checking the reproductive status of that of females. And you can see the male's horns. Look at that. Look how those males' horns have got a slight bend in them. That's what we refer to as the bell. It is very distinctive within the male horn structure in comparison to female, which would be almost dead straight. So almost midway up those horns, they've got a slight bend. Lovely. So if she moves, he might move. So showing us that this is a female that might be coming into the ready state of mating. And obviously if she is, he would want to stay very, very close to her, and then as well as court her as well. So visually showing, watch the way she's going to sit down. Buckling the front legs and then bum down. Obviously we know oryx are ruminants, but with that fluid within the chambers, so that one stomach containing 4 different chambers, there's fluids there that you do not want to go in the opposite direction. So that way in which that animal sat down is very distinctive and prominently displayed through ruminants. And there she's chewing the cud. So regurgitating the material that was floating within that first chamber. The smaller material or finer material would have gone into the second chamber already. And this stuff that's larger still needs to be broken down more. And that's where those teeth would come into very important play. Grinding and actually shredding that vegetative material. And yes, good morning, we're talking about you. Beautiful. So a question was asked yesterday about their coat color. If you look at the geological features within the area, that could also have an effect on the coat color. Remember, they're taking up grass, but in the mix of things, they're also taking up minerals. And sometimes they have a mineral deficiency and they'll actually consume small pebbles and small pieces of ground. Geophagy, geo referring to rock, phagy, consume. So then you would definitely have an effect later on the line with the coat. Well, somebody has got something swimming at Prrivate. Let's send you over there for a bit.
So we have got to a nice safe spot, as we said we were going to do. We've just moved right up to the dam wall now, which is often where you find us standing at Leopard Dam. It provides a a nice bit of protection. We've got lots of trees kind of high behind, and then of course this section of the dam is the highest part of the dam, considering it is the wall. So the breeding herds have all moved off now. There was one young bull that was lagging behind. He just couldn't get enough of the mud, but eventually Mom came to fetch him, and then off they went. And now we're just stuck with those. Well, I suppose just stuck sounds like it's negative. This is a wonderful experience. We're just watching the bulls do their thing. And every now and then, and I hope that we get to hear it because we're so close, you'll actually hear their tusks clashing together. So let's see if two of the bulls do start to jostle one another. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to hear it. It's so loud, and those are one of the things that we listen out for when we're in the bush. We don't just listen out for elephants breaking branches or pulling up grass or a trumpet or a deep exhale or anything like that. At the moment, the elephants on Pridelands are quite stirred and very boisterous because there's at least 2 bulls that are roaming around. There was a wasp. Sorry. Yes, I'm a brave safari guide. So there's at least 2 elephant bulls at the moment that are in must, and I have mentioned this. So essentially they're in this excited phase, or the sexual phase of their life where they're got an extra adrenaline shot and they're drawn to go searching for females that are in estrus. So it's Ezelweenie, or one of the great tuskers, and then there's another bull who's also got a beautiful set of tusks on him, but he's only got one. So we call him one tusky. And they have been causing so much havoc. So I think these boys are quite happy that they're not around the musk bulls at the moment, because they normally feel it worse than anybody. They get too close, they get chased off, and that's also when elephants might kill one another. And it's not that uncommon. It does happen. You don't really want to get on the bad side of a musk bull, especially if you're a younger male. But can you hear that sound now of them clashing their tusks? I just got word that unfortunately my wonderful sighting of the elephant swimming is not doing as well as Trishala's sighting this morning. But like I said, I would have casted my vote for the leopard catching a fish. So thank you so much for all of you participating. Keep on voting though, it's not quite over just yet. Who knows? This is of course the wild, and anything could happen. We could have a herd of 100 buffalo come down and join the sighting. That might increase our votes a little bit. But I'm not too worried if I lose. We're both winners, 100%. I also love the way that those elephants smack their trunks on the water, creating a huge splash. And that's apparently supposed to be intimidating. Makes me chuckle. Maybe not if I was in the water with them. Anyways, our elephants are moving on, so I think that that's our cue to go and find some other things. Or if we go all the way across back to the east coast to Phinda to see how their morning is doing.
Welcome back, everyone. So we have since left that little bird's nest and we've come to our airstrip. We've come across these 2 male zebra that, as you can see, they've been enjoying the mud that's been produced from the heavy rains we had last night. You can see how it's caked on there. It's almost to the point where you can't even recognize them as being black and white in color. They now look quite brown. So I think they certainly have been enjoying it. As we arrived, they were busy rolling around, having a great old time. You can see also on their hooves, they've got like little brown socks. It's lovely to see. You can see that poor one at the back has had his tail bitten off. So as I said, these are 2 males. And what most likely happened is he had a fight with another male. Possibly a male trying to steal one of his females. And got his tail bitten off. You know, you'll quite often see zebra without their tails. And it's one of the more vicious traits of the animals. You know, they've got these quite hard teeth, you know, only molar teeth, but they can still bite through something as thick as their tails. And so you'll come across every now and then you'll come across a zebra with no tail. And shame, you can see that one on the right, how it's actually busy swatting away the flies. And even as he's sort of just turned his head right now and actually tried to bite a fly. So you can see they definitely are bugging him. So he's certainly missing the use of that tail. So as they walk off, we're going to carry on seeing what else we can find on the airstrip. It seems to have quite a few animals around this morning. And we're going to send you over to Tswalu.
Alrighty, we have got this Lena falcon in here and it's busy chasing and mobbing that pale chanting goshawk that we saw a couple of minutes ago. The goshawk came in, landed on a big camel thorn, and instantaneously 2 of these birds took off and they came straight for that goshawk. It's trying to pick up on where it's gone now. So look how the BK, do you see where this camel thorn is in front of us? Punch in there a bit more, can you? There's our goshawk sitting tucked up inside that camel thorn. Obviously from a safety aspect, those Lena falcons could inflict a lot of damage on this small bird. They are very, very high flying birds. They are very fast flying birds, and they use their talons to inflict a lot of damage on birds, especially when it comes to competition. So that pale chanting goshawk seeking refuge in that thorny or spiny tree. A little bit of adjustment on his feathers after his close call. Denver, the wind is really hectic. Can birds kill one another in mid-air? Denver, if you take a look at the peregrine falcon, it is a high-speed aerial killer. It actually kills birds on the wing and going extremely high and then coming down at ferocious speed. We're talking exceeding 300 kilometers an hour. And I mean, at 300 kilometers an hour, the bird strikes prey or an opponent with its talons, and almost instantaneously it is lights out. So yes, birds can strike other birds and kill each other mid-air. But while this bird is sitting on the outskirts like this, it is also still vulnerable. So a Lena falcon could come across and strike it with its talons, and you could break something very easily, where those talons are fairly strong and the bird does come in with a lot of speed. I think the bird's sitting here on the right. Here it comes here. BK. Here comes the Lena falcon. You can see a very, very strong flight pattern. And this bird uses speed. I've seen footage of a duck sitting on the ground and this Lena falcon coming across the stream. You can't even see it, it's just a flash. BK obviously doing a great job of keeping up with it. Very fast flying bird, but definitely outwitted and outmaneuvered by that Lena falcon in terms of speed and maneuverability. So they actually look like juveniles, and they practice on birds coming in and out of this watering hole. So they'll sit on the outskirts of this pad and they'll just watch the activity of birds, and suddenly they'll take off and they'll do 3 or 4 swoops in and out here trying to catch birds on the wing. It's all for practice. Remember, they've got to develop their muscles, they've got to become stronger flying birds, and also knowing how to outmaneuver a small bird is only done with practice. So this juvenile also use this as a practice ground. They'll catch birds and catch small rodents. We've also noted them following baboons in the mountains. And when the baboons turn over big rocks, they disturb a lot of things. And that's where this bird will seek that opportunity, coming down and pouncing on a potential prey item. Oh, go to the left there quickly. PK. Go to the left a bit there. Slightly to the left. Oh, there goes our pal chanting. Okay. He's perched up beyond that very beautiful camel thorn. What a beautiful shot with it. Red exposed dune there on the right. So in flight like this, taking out a competitor, even if an opponent had to grab hold of the bird's wing, you can inflict a lot of damage, and that in the long run could be detrimental to the flight of this bird. Lovely to see these juveniles, because it is a treat, because you're always learning when it comes to raptors, and they can be very tricky, like I've mentioned. Oh, talk about something mentioned. Somebody asked a brilliant question yesterday regarding birds and allergies. And yes, birds, I think the question was, can birds have allergies? And yes, they can. They can have allergies to pollen, mole, and even cleaning products. And you can actually see it via the redness in the eyes, discharge from the nose. So a great question, obviously one that expanded my knowledge yesterday. So thank you to the viewer that asked that.
So we just ended up heading a little bit further down the runway and came across even more zebra and these lovely wildebeest. And we were quite interested to see what was happening. If you see, there's a group that's joined together. And we have a look at the one in the front. It's quite a bit bigger, especially now that female's gone and stood right next to him. It's actually a really nice comparison in size. You can see he's a bit bigger. The muscles around his neck are a bit more prominent. Also generally a little bit darker in color, and his horns are also quite a bit more wide. And of course the easiest way to tell that the one in the middle is a female is because she's got a calf right next to her, and the calf staying very close to her. So that calf would have been born around December time. That's when they give birth. So quite easy to age, probably about 3 or 4 months now. And what's lovely to see, if you have a look at that male, you look at his head, you can have a look at all that mud that he's caked on his head and on the horns. And that's quite typical for this time of the year. He's a territorial male, and part of him displaying on his territory is he's got a little midden where he rolls around in. He drops all his dung and he gets the scent of his dung on himself, but he also gets tries to get a whole lot of mud on his horns. And as he's doing that, he inevitably gets a lot of mud on his face, just like we're seeing now. And that's to make himself look as big as and impressive as possible. So if another male were to come across and want to take over his territory, he might rethink his decision, because now suddenly this male looks like he's got thicker, more intimidating horns. And what's quite unusual to see is that we're just seeing one female, one calf. Now, normally you'll see with the females, they'll travel in a larger herd with quite a number of young. And I think what might have happened is he's managed to keep her in his territory, and perhaps a male on the outskirts managed to sort of herd all the rest of the females onto his territory. And this male's managed to keep her here. You can see also all the animals are starting now. You can see the zebras have joined in. And they've just decided that that's a really nice shady spot. As we've been sitting here, you can actually feel how it's heating up. So they're all going to stand in the shade for a little bit just to get a bit cooler. So we're going to carry on and see what else we can find in the area. It's starting to get hot, so we're going to start looking in the shady patches. But in the meantime, we're going to send you off to another ranger and see what they've managed to find.
On the 27th of April, WildEarth will be turning 14 years old, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you. And to celebrate, we will be finishing the beautiful book that we started last year that looks at the history so far. But we do need you to be part of it. Please submit your most memorable sighting, or what WildEarth means to you, or even just your name and a comment to be included inside the book. Head over to the website to add your name and reserve your copy. We are offering a 20% discount on all books bought before the end of March. And a big thank you to all of you who have contributed to the book so far.
With a slew of potential dangers lurking, it's essential to be aware of your surroundings whilst walking in the wilderness.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species. This is a big bull.
What a moment, what a close encounter with an Ellie bull. He's just over here now. He's moved completely away.
Being on a bushwalk and seeing a leopard, I mean, it's ridiculous to be this close to a leopard on foot and for him not to run is absolutely insane. How crazy was that? Through the gap there is just the back of the head of a male lion. He is absolutely unaware that we are here right now. I'll tell you, seeing lions on foot, it definitely brings out the caveman in you, this little scared human being.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Djuma, where we've moved on from our very sleepy male lion. And we're just going to check another little area to see if maybe any sign of what I believe to be the Talamati Pride might be around on Djuma. I think he just got a bit lazy and ran out of energy to follow them. And they also do like to move away from him because, well, if they do make a kill, he just dominates. Still on the western side, the whole herd of buffalo sort of moved through this area, and they've, for the most part, seem to have crossed. But we haven't gone further south. We've been pretty stuck on the western side, working, and, well, you never know what might materialize around the corner. Wild dogs have been on Bivouac this morning, right on the north in an area we can't broadcast from. So everybody seems to be there, apart from myself and Trish. Trish is doing her wonderful thing on Chitwa. And we seem to be alone on Djuma this morning. So, you know, sometimes that can prove to be quite rewarding. I was chatting with one of the Simbambili guards last night, Justin, and they haven't seen Shadulu in 3 days. They reckon she's on Djuma, and Trish said that she had tracks of Shadulu around sort of where we found Kara yesterday morning. So it's possible both of them are on the property. The fact that I haven't seen any other tracks means that she might be sort of in the block with an animal, feeding on an animal, not having fun or playing with an animal. So we check. This is a nice area. This is an area we used to spend a lot of time with Hukumuri. This western section just inside here on the right is the infamous Hukumuri Warthog Hotel that he used to go and visit quite regularly. Where he used to check in and check out piglets on demand. Okay, well, we're going to carry on here, see what we can find, and once again, we're going to send you back over to Tswalu Kalahari.
Well, this individual taking a little bath time. This behavior is very, very important within birds to keep those feathers squeaky clean, to remove any freeloaders, and just give the body a good old wash. You can see he'll dip his head and then run the water over his back and then almost ruffle the feathers at the same time, and then crisscross his wings to make sure that that water is really moving in and between the feathers. Those lanner falcons have moved off a little bit further. Saw them coming in from quite a distance and they were just watching the watering hole. They came in and gave one quick swoop and then they were out again. But this individual not too worried about them. It's more important right now to keep struggling a bit there. Now what it's going to do is just go up to a perched position, and this is where he'll dry off those feathers and then readjust them, realign them using his beak, most importantly his beak, just to make sure that everything is in check. Oops. Not too sturdy up there. A lot of birds starting to come into this watering hole, and hopefully we have those lanner falcons coming in and providing us with some entertainment, because that is really entertaining watching these birds fly in and out. And they just cut through the air with such grace. Obviously now with the wind speed that we've got blowing in from the east, those birds don't really need to do a lot of flapping. They would just use the wind speed itself and then basically adjust their wings to move and maneuver them through the air. But this individual keeping watchful eye. Oh, and there he goes. Where are you going, my buddy? I don't think he feels too safe here, close to this watering hole. See, there's a few sandgrass coming in as well. They'll come get a well-deserved morning drink. Ah, there comes the lanner falcon on the left here. Just watch here quickly. It's going to cut through these bushes here now. This is a very important source of water for animals far and wide, and it is. And if you find in the dry season, that this place would be a hive of activity. Obviously, when moisture is far and stretched out. So you can see if BK just goes to the left over here, you can see that animals coming into this watering hole, you can see how all this vegetation has been trampled because the animals' activity stomped out properly over here. So this would be eland, oryx, wildebeest coming in and out this watering hole, visiting the life-giving moisture. But from the heightened activity, this basically detrimentally affects the vegetation in and around these watering holes. That's why it's always important that you have multiple watering holes, that animals basically move from point A to point B, so that you can give the vegetation time to recuperate or recover, let's say it that. You can see at the outskirts over there how the grass just starts, and at a certain point you've got bare soil. vastness, eh? It's the first dune where we are now at the moment in this section, running out northwest. Alright, talking about vastness, let's send you over to Tswalu on the other side of the country.
We are back on to Djuma, and now we're going to head, we're almost at Buffelshoek Dam, so perfect timing. I like having an because we're coming from Hippo Pools Road.
I had that in the morning.
Southeast of the dam. And there's a beautiful reveal, which Impo, of course, will show you. Now at the dam, I'm hoping that we'll see elephants. I mean, we saw a leopard while at the other dam, so maybe we'll see a leopard while we're at this dam. Can always be hopeful. But that kind of experience definitely doesn't happen twice in a drive. So it's about to happen. Roger, you'd like to know how many man-made water holes we have in Djuma? Well, technically they're all man-made. The dams as well. If you're talking about like pumped water holes, there's only one with pumped water, but the dams are all man-made. They may have started as a little depression or something. Okay, the reveal is about to begin. It may have started as a bit of a depression or a collection of water in a certain area and then built into a dam, but there are no natural dams. Let me just double check that. This is not Treehouse Dam. It's not. And Viatel Dam is not. Yeah. So they're all man-made. I love it. And when you come around the corner, come from Chitwa, it doesn't look all that expensive. Gorgeous, gorgeous. We'll just pop into the dam wall. Here we go. So peaceful. I see many banded groundling dragonflies flying all around us, which is very cute. Even at Chitwa Dam, they were all around. But other than that, a pair of Egyptian geese enjoying the still water of Buffelshoek Dam. Oh, and so are we. Anyway, let me send you over to Steve while I go find something a little bit more exciting.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, we found one of the birds that will make the Egyptian geese tremble in their feathers, in their fat feet. A martial eagle perched on top of the tree there. He flew away from us a moment ago as we came around the corner. He was in another dead tree. And now here is a fully mature, seemingly, from what I saw, fully mature martial eagle. Beautiful, beautiful bird. You can actually see from the side of his head, he's got that little bit of a crest, something we often see in the Wahlbergs. But the size of him, you just can't compare. Now, even that fork-tailed jongo, can you see the fork-tailed jongo just on the branch to the right of him? Yeah, and he's sitting there going, I'm going to watch this guy. I'm probably not going to try and chase him. Martial eagles are so impressive. They are one of the big 6 birds I was talking about on Prrivate last week. The numbers are quite healthy in the Cape, but up here or around South Africa their numbers aren't great because obviously many people, farmers and the like, have the belief that martial eagles are killing their livestock. And so the same with vultures. They will sadly poison them. By poisoning them, they basically lay some poison down and kill birds like guinea fowls, for example, and then birds like this might come in to eat, and vice versa. The poison continues. So when we see a martial eagle like this in this area, it's probably the same one we've seen before. They have an enormous area that they cover. The last couple of years we've been seeing sort of a juvenile martial that's been coming in and out of Chitwa and Djuma. That was still in sort of young juvenile plumage, but was slowly changing. So I wonder if this is actually that one that's become an adult. He's feeling a bit ruffled. Bernie Lulu, a raptor morning indeed. Indeed. Now, they are such impressive birds, a martial eagle. I discussed it quite at length the other day. Bless you, Johan, but we can discuss it more, as to see them out and about is very special. And you might have heard me say just now, big 6 birds. What are the other big 6? Let's see who can send through their answers. What are the other big 5 birds on the Kruger big 6 bird list? If you're not sure, stand by and listen. I'll give the answers shortly, but send through your answers to #WildEarth or throw them in the YouTube chat stream. Elton is sitting there ready to get your answers. Now, the big 6 birds are essentially large, sort of well-spotted birds of concern as well. Their habitat is diminishing, their numbers are diminishing, they are large, and there's lots of efforts going to their conservation. So this bird, for example, is very common in large conservation areas, but vulnerable. Near threatened on the IUCN, South Africa vulnerable, and uncommon elsewhere. But in the Cape, due to certain changes and due to sort of the change in agriculture, their numbers have actually increased. But outside of conservation areas up here in the north, very, very rare to find them. Their eyesight is incredible. And soaring in the sky at 5-6 kilometers away, they can see prey, which they then dive down and smash. One of their primary food sources is small game, small pheasant-like birds, guinea fowl, franklins, monitor lizards. I've had one on a steenbok as well as a sharp's vleesbok. Obviously, if a scrub hare dares to move out, they will fall prey. Weighing up to a total of 6.2 kilograms. Nancy can show the bald eagle is not a South African bird, I'm afraid, so that doesn't fall into the big 6 of the Kruger's big 6 birds. We're looking specifically for the big 6 birds that occupy the Kruger, or the Lowveld. We generally refer to it as the Kruger because a majority of the Lowveld is under agriculture or mining, and a very large portion of the conservation areas available all fall within the Kruger.
So we have been looking all over for any signs of anything else, and we've even come to this quite a bad piece of road. Unfortunately, after the heavy rains, a lot of the roads have been washed away in certain sections, and that can make it a little bit tricky driving around the riverbed. But at the same time, it's starting to get really, really hot now, and at least the predatory animals will now be looking for shade. They'll be looking for areas where we won't be able to find them as easily, and then other animals will be looking for shade as well. So that's why it is actually a good idea to be driving and moving around the riverbed, on the banks or nearby. There are animals like giraffes that might be using the shade of taller trees. The birds and also the impalas. The one thing that's been eluding us the entire time over the last few weeks has been the leopard. And sightings have been few and far in between. It's so tricky, you hardly even see the tracks of them because it is so dense. And if you have a look at this area where we are at the moment, you'll notice that there's a lot of seasonal pans and very, very tall grass. It's quite a beautiful area. All over, it's mostly magic quarry, some leadwoods in the distance, and then also flannel bush coming out in between the grasses. And then seasonal pans all over. Now what's interesting is it looks like a perfectly calm clearing, and you'd ask yourself, why would there not be any animals like impala or zebra or even wildebeest here? And I think the reason for that is because the grasses are too long. But we're going to continue along, drop into the Timavati riverbed, and we'll send you over to Kim, who's at a watering hole.
Well, this rain has done wonders for, I think, South Africa in general. You know, Yapi's got that long grass that he's been talking about there. We've also got incredibly long grass here at Phinda. And we are looking at a scene that I have not seen in 3 years. I've been a bit blown away this morning. You said that we had a massive storm last night. We got over 50 mils of rain by Mountain Lodge. And in this area, there was close to 80 mils. And you can see that there's actually water in this watering hole. Now, we've got a much bigger watering hole a little bit further upstream. So generally, all the water that runs off the mountains and things goes in there first, and we only see this watering hole fill up when that one overflows, which happened last night. And we came to this absolutely gorgeous scene this morning. My breath is taken away, and just, it's phenomenal to think how quickly the animals have come here. I don't know if you saw those hippos pop their heads up just now. We've already got 2 hippos in here. Can stop, and I'm going to stop now, and we're just going to listen to the sounds. But you can see here banded rubber frogs and African bullfrogs calling. You can see the amount of bird life that's around here. So I think let's just stop and listen and take it in for a little bit. Hammond, thanks so much for your question. Yeah, so we had a very small pan of water that was in this watering hole before, but that was it. So this is pretty much filled up overnight, and it's about maybe half a kilometer away from the other watering hole where we've got a rather large pod of hippos. So they would have come in the evening or early this morning when they were out feeding, and they would have found this watering hole and they would have decided to come and move here. It's quite interesting behavior with hippos, because I'm sure a lot of you have seen that they generally form these very large pods. But the problem with the large pod is that there's actually only one territorial bull. So males, if they want to actually mate with females, they then need to find their own watering hole or challenge the current territorial bull for his pod of hippos and his watering hole. So when we get rains like this, you'll see a lot of males disperse trying to find their own watering holes, and also females will disperse trying to find other watering holes because they either want to mate with a different male, perhaps they're related to the male in some way, so they would have come here. So this would all be very, very recent, and I'm sure we might actually see a few more hippos come here, as time goes on. They're amazing, amazing animals. They can walk up to 11 kilometers in the evening. Obviously, in times like this, they're not going to walk very far because we've got such luscious green grass all over the place. There's no real need for them to disperse too far. But when it was really dry, we actually even saw tracks of them in the far western side of the reserve where there's almost no water. And they were dispersing that far just to feed, which was quite something. You can hear that rounded rubber frog in the background really nicely, that one that's going. You hear there. There's a bubbling casino going there. And we've got all those African bullfrogs, that low sort of tone that's in the background. You can hear quite a few of them calling there. This is probably my favorite thing to sit and do when I'm on game drive, is just stop at a watering hole for a little while and sort of just take it in, because there's nothing more peaceful than having a light breeze in your face and hearing just the sounds of all those small animals that we don't tend to spend too much time appreciating. You can see a whole lot of barn swallows that are going down, getting a drink of water. Is that hippo putting his head up again, or probably her head, because I think there's two. I think there might be a calf with her as well. See that head's coming out really nicely. You can see that beautiful little sort of pale pink skin around the eyes and in the ears. Right, back down. So hippos can only hold their breath for about 5 or 6 minutes. So, ooh. Here we go, there's another one. I think that's the younger one. It looks just a little bit smaller. It's got some wrinkles on the back of its head as well. So luckily with hippos, you generally know when they're in the watering hole because they can't stay under for too long. Opposite with crocodiles, that they can hold their breath for an hour. So I would always recommend you being very cautious and not just assuming that there's no crocodiles because you haven't seen any, because they can stay hidden for a very, very long time. And they can walk massive, massive distances. I actually saw one just after our first big rains. At night, I was driving over one of the mountain ranges on my way back to the lodge, and I literally came across a crocodile in the middle of the road on the top of a mountain. And he's crossing right to the western side of the reserve, just trying to find a new watering hole to stay in. So I think we might sit and enjoy the scene for a little bit longer. It's starting to get a little bit hot now, so I think a lot of the animals have found a bit of shade or been taking in their afternoon naps. Not that they do that, sorry, that's a bad joke. But yeah, they're going to be resting in the shade for most of the afternoon. So we're going to sit and enjoy the scene. And we're going to send you over to someone else and see what they've managed to find for you this morning.
I'm absolutely delighted to have won the February prize draw for 3 nights for 6 people at the Djuma Private Game Reserve. I absolutely love everything WildEarth has to offer. I find the guides extremely knowledgeable and will go above and beyond to ensure a great safari experience. I will be taking my husband and family from the UK to experience this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. One of the main reasons I joined the WildEarth Explorer program was for the fireside chats and also to win an incredible prize, which I am so fortunate to win and incredibly happy. I would like to thank WildEarth for this amazing prize and cannot wait to meet the team.
WildEarth explorer Jenny recently joined Tristan as he broadcast live from Djuma.
Awesome to kind of have a guest on board. I'm looking forward to this. This is Jenny.
Hi everyone.
And Jenny is the first of our Ticket to Dream holders.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
Literally being with Tristan on the vehicle today has been incredible. It has truly been a dream come true.
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
I would highly recommend being a part of the Explorer program and being able to be a part of an interactive live drive.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at WildEarth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed. Welcome back, everybody. Well, finally we got to quarantine and we've found some leopard tracks heading in that direction, probably from Shadulu. But we lost our martial eagle as we lost our internet connection. We do apologize for that, but we got some answers in, and Corinne definitely got them correct. She sent through answers saying the lappet-faced vulture, the Cory bustard, saddable stork, Pell's fishing owl, martial eagle, southern ground hornbill. So well done to you. And I think there are a few more answers coming through. So if you guessed those 6, those are the 6 big birds in the Kruger that are conservationally important. Okay, so these tracks are going straight there to the bush braai site. Always like to check. So it seems like nobody else got them correct. So those are the big 6, everybody. Very important. They are quite big. James Richard, of course, James Richard got it right. Well done, sir. Okay, so these leopard tracks are from last night because the one I just saw there now has got a water thickney, or should I say spotted thickney track on it, and the thickneys are nocturnal. So we're going to have to work this area this morning. I mean, should I say this afternoon? Just get a double check of where she might have gotten to. It felt like she went straight through here, but I went straight to the west this morning, so I didn't get to check this area. But it is an area we like to check. we'll have to focus on this afternoon, but it feels like it will be Shadulu in the drainage here. Liam, it's hard to say because it's an open system, but definitely the drainage lines produce an enormous amount of activity. You might not find it, but the activity there is obvious through the tracks. But these open areas are also very productive from a point of view of impala and wildebeest. The buffalo move through. So you'd probably say wherever the water is the most productive. Here, I'm going to just show some leopard tracks just towards the end. Oopsie, have I dropped something? All good. Here we go. There is one, been driven on, heading in this direction. Can you see that track there that I pointed at? You can see this one, perhaps. Beautiful leopard track. You can see the back pads over there, and there are the toes, heading in this direction. And just before over there, when I first saw them, the track had a water thickening on top of it, which means that this happened last night. A general common time for these animals to be moving. But the leopard tracks that we were following this morning, that one triple M, were fresh. They were right on top of the rain. Okay, well, we're going to have a look, a little scratch around, see exactly where they've gotten to, but we'll have to spend more time this afternoon. In that time, we're going to send you back over to andBeyond Phinda.
Welcome back. So we have decided to stay at this watering hole, and what is amazing, we've just started looking at these little bushes on the edge. And we're actually seeing one that was covered in locusts, but then what caught our eye is this praying mantis. You can see he's struggling to swim. He was caught in the flood, and the break swim to the shoreline, and as you can see, he's really struggling. You can imagine he's got those long spindly arms, no way to scoop the water. So he's churning up that water. A whole lot of common wax shells just flew over him. We were quite worried that he was going to get taken by one of them. That time, we've got just a few seconds left of drive, and it's really heating up. We've got a lovely view of the bush that's given us so many gifts this morning. Look at this, just gorgeous. Well, like I said, it's that time, so thank you, everybody. Thanks for your questions and your comments. We'll see you then.
Everybody, welcome aboard. Welcome to Djuma, and it is a wonderful afternoon with a little bit of a breeze. It is about 32 degrees Celsius, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. My name is Steve, and I'm joined by Johan on camera, and we are always, as always, excited to have you with us. Our plans for the afternoon is we're going to be heading up to Buffelshoek to see what we can find. It's nice to go and just explore an area I haven't been into for some time. And if you have any questions or comments, please send them through to #WildEarth on Twitter. Throw them in the YouTube chat stream. And as always, you can go to the website and send them through on the live safari page. If you are under the age of 18, get your parents or guardians to send your questions through at kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. On that note, though, we're going to start moving as it's getting quite warm in the sunshine here. We're heading on Gala shortcut up towards Buffelshoek, which is in a sort of northerly direction. And who knows what we might find. I just heard some elephants making a big noise over there.